It is day 4 of our face-to-face interviews with candidates in Mayo for the upcoming election, November 29th, as you know. And today in studio, I'm delighted to be welcoming Independent Ireland candidate for Mayo, Councillor Chris Maxwell. Chris was elected to the Westport Municipal District in the local elections last June, receiving 1,939 votes in the process and raising a few eyebrows as well. Thanks for coming in. Good morning.
Thanks, Tommy, and I'm delighted to be here on Midwest. I'm no stranger to Ballyhaunis myself, as I have some family, big connections here in Ballyhaunis, the Cohn family and the O'Grady family. And over the last, all my youth and up to now, we have been up and down, and we know a lot of the places in Ballyhaunis.
So there's a few votes bagged in Ballyhaunis.
And yes, and fair play. And before, as I say, I just want to say my heartiest congratulations to my neighbour, Nora Lally. She has reached the milestone of 100 years of age.
Loads of requests.
Which is phenomenal. And as I say, I want to thank her family, especially her daughter Kathleen, for looking after that woman so well and to bringing her to where she is today. I remember over the years, I worked on their family farm, doing work for them, for herself and her, Lord Mercy, and her good husband, Martin. And I remember as well, and she was lovely, and chairman lady, you go in, you get a fine feed. It was rural Ireland at its best. But I do want to compliment, especially her daughter Kathleen and her family, for looking after that woman so well.
Well done. And she's a terrific lady, and we pass on your good wishes. Okay, you're representing Independent Ireland, Michael Fitzmaurice's party. Why?
Well, as I said, I'm involved in over the years. How would you put it? We're in the turf cutting game. I knew him through that. I was running as an independent in the local election there, and I got talking to him and to some of my neighbours. They said, "Why don't you talk to Michael and join up with him instead of being an independent?" Now I had ran for a party previous in the previous general election.
But that's Fianna Fáil, was it?
Yes,
yeah.
And
did you fall out with them?
Well, I'll get to that in a minute, but I nearly won that election for them. It was a handful of number 2 votes. And as I say, I decided then that, as we went on, that Louisburgh was 10 years without a local councillor. And I said to myself, we have to win back that council seat for the area. And we went about it this way. We went as an independent to try and unify the whole community. And along the way, we joined with Independent Ireland because that party is the party of common sense. They come with good, solid, structured policies.
By the way, is there a manifesto published yet, or will Independent Ireland be?
Yes, they have a manifesto.
Okay.
But that's why I say, and I knew him through the turf cutting business, and I like him. He's a straight talker, and that's what this country needs.
It's a big step up, Chris, from local politics to national politics. And I guess as an independent, you would have maybe felt even less powerful should you get elected. So at least if you get elected, do you feel that, you've got a colleagues and a structure within the Dáil building rather than just fighting every cause on your own?
Yes, well, you're quite correct there. Michael Fitzmaurice, the man we're talking about now, told me that he said, up there on your own as a TD, as an independent on your own, is a very lonely place. And that's why he started this, along with his colleagues, Michael Collins and O'Donoghue, to put a grouping together that would have a bit of clout. Now, being elected to Mayo County Council, and we're only in there 5 or 6 months now, but the biggest problem all the time that I'm listening to is no money for this, no money for that. Can it do this? Can it do that? And I believe that if elected as a TD, you have more power to draw down money, get more money into County Mayo from central government.
Okay.
That's my taking on it.
And let's talk about where you want that money spent. First of all, you're advocating for a €1 billion additional fund for agriculture to support and sustain farming in rural Ireland.
Yes. Farming, as we all know, is the backbone of rural Ireland. It's the backbone of this country. When the Celtic Tiger ran away 10, 12 years ago, everyone went back to farming again. And kept going, kept ticking, kept our towns, kept our supermarkets, pubs, everything going. And of course things has moved on again now. But farming is our way of life, and it needs to be protected. And one of the big issues that I will be pushing for is for a decent retirement scheme so that we can get our young people more interested in farming. That is the secret. The young people of this county and this country, that's the secret. We need to give them every advantage in staying here and promoting our industries and our farming. Now, I want to emphasise, young people, young farmers in particular, they need to be getting a farm when they're 25 or 30 years of age. And as it's structured now, we all know that it's not happening. And I think that is one of the catalysts that needs to be pushed. And Independent Ireland are pushing that give the older generation who have worked hard, who have built their farms up now, and develop them to the best of their ability. Let the young people in. Give the older generation a reliable package, but let them give the farms to the young people and keep it going.
But the loophole or the hole that I see in that argument, Chris, is that if you're saying that the farmers, the older farmers should be handing over to the sons or daughter at the age of 25 or 30, then that means that the farmer themselves are still not possibly at retirement age. So are you talking about a retirement package that even if they're not at 65 or 66 or 67?
Yeah, we had one before. A long time ago, there was a scheme introduced when you could retire at 55.
Yes,
and it was a new one. It was a new scheme, and it could have been organised a lot better. People now know what's needed. Independent Ireland knows what's needed in that package now. There's another thing going on at the minute too. We were at some KT meetings there the last month. There's a big push on now for forestry schemes and little agroforestry and all that. Now, they're all good in their own sense. Don't get me wrong. They're good where they're needed. But that is not the answer. They are pushing them schemes all the time instead of getting into this now and supporting our young farmers and our older generation with a reliable package that will keep them on the land. Remember, when the land is planted, and I don't care, they come and they sell it lovely, that you can put your rows of trees 10 metres wide and you can cut your silage up and down it. It's lovely, it sounds great, and your stock can graze under it. But remember, when them trees mature, there'll be no tractor and baler going up and down between them. And that'll be the end of that farm. And we cannot allow that to happen.
But we will, the argument is, and Charlie McConalogue has said this many, many times, that these are EU guidelines and directives, and, you know, Chris Maxwell, with the best heart in the world, isn't going to change that.
Well, as I say, we know there is directives there. They're coming in. They have to be handled a lot better. I mean, it's that simple. People have to wise up to all these rules and regulations. We know we're bound by them. But, like, if you go out abroad to Italy or Spain or anywhere like that, the butchers, the restaurants, everything else, they're all hanging their meat outside the door. They're doing whatever they feel like doing. But back here in Ireland, we take it, we do exactly what we're supposed to do. And, I mean, out there, like, you take the French farmers, they won't put up with any of them things. We know there's directives there, but we need to work them a bit better to suit the people of Mayo and
Mayo.
Ireland.
Okay. On the housing crisis, I know you're very passionate about this, the red tape around planning permissions and one-off housing in rural areas that is really stifling so many young couples from coming back to rural Ireland. How can that be changed?
Well, I'll tell you what it is. I mean, it's people. There wants to be a more common sense approach taken to our planning. I mean, we know the rules and regulations are there in regards to sewerage and all that, and fair play, that is perfect. But I had a girl onto me there only 3 days ago, in tears. She was from Westport. Her parents were living out in the countryside. And they were living in Napa. She could not afford a site beside them. But she sourced a site in another village. The price was right, it suited her. She would have preferred to be near her parents and everything. So she went in to sit down with the planner. And he told her that because she was originally from Westport Town, they would not give her planning on a site that she was prepared to buy and had sourced. Now that's ridiculous, like, you know. It is crazy. I mean, I have my own family now. I have 2 sons, 31 and 29. They're living with us. No problem with that. But they just cannot afford to get it. I have my daughter and her partner. They're abroad working in the mines in Perth. 3 years in it. They're at the same age. They want to come back now and start a family. And they've told us this. Now, look, I give them a site because I'm lucky enough to have a site to give them if they want it. But they still cannot afford to build a house. So we were down at the ploughing championships, myself and my wife Sally, and they told us to look into these. There's new ways of housing, and one of them is they're turning containers, steel 40-foot containers, into houses, and that's what they are looking at. That's how desperate it is. They're looking at that now when they come back, that we can place that on a site and they can start from there.
And would you be a supporter of modular homes?
Modular homes or log homes, anything like that, that's makes sense and affordable. Now we have the disaster situation now where modular homes there's prices coming out for them, and like it would frighten you what's going on, like, you know. I mean, I just don't understand that. Okay. Like it's ridiculous how modular homes can cost up to 400,000. It's hard to figure it out.
Okay. Your other key policies, Chris, will be supporting local tourism industry and infrastructure, particularly the proposed major upgrade of the R335, that's the Westport Louisburgh Road, ensuring vital services such as investment in school transport, encouraging sustainable farming practices and common sense environmental solutions. They're your main 5 key policy issues for this general election. We asked listeners if they had specific questions for you. We have loads of them, and I want to ask you them now. First of all, Marie Claire says the 2022 census showed an 18% drop in the population of Louisburgh, and in light of the obvious demise of tourism in the area with the 3 hotels closed, how does Chris Maxwell propose to stem this tide and secure the viability of Louisburgh?
Yeah, well, that's a fair point. I know we have no hotels now, but we have the finest of natural assets back there. We have the beaches, the finest beaches. We have the Lost Valley. We have Delphi Adventure Centre, which is a hotel. We have the islands, our 2 lovely islands, Clare Island and Inishturk. And we have one of the finest co-ed secondary schools in County Mayo, Sancta Maria College. And there is nearly 300 pupils coming from Westport back to there. Now, the statistics say what they say, but I believe there is a lot more people like in Louisburgh than what they're actually saying, and we want to develop on that. We had recently there. We had a Pride of Place. Louisburgh won the Pride of Place awards there only 2 weeks ago. It was a fantastic achievement. We had hundreds of people out that day. The judges were there, showing all their wares, their voluntary thing. There is a massive vibrancy out there in Louisburgh. What we need is to get as many of our young people back to Louisburgh, into our community again, and that they will give that community a lift. We may have not the infrastructure, but we have all the lovely assets besides, and that's what we need to develop on and to keep the show going.
Okay, just on the Greenway option. Caller says it now looks like the only option to the Greenway to Louisburgh Runa is by way of the off-road option, with the 4 local councillors to make the planning decision in 3 months, with hotels, restaurants and bars closing down in Louisburgh and the islands. How does Chris intend voting on the off-road option, given that this could be the lifeline that Louisburgh and the islands desperately need?
Yes, I have always said it from day one. TII are in control of the situation at the minute, and we're going grey in the hair trying to get them to change their actual standards. Now they want to put that Greenway, as they call it, up through a lovely valley, up through across forestry, across Morrisk and down in there into a lovely scenic area, the side of Crowpath,
which is what a Greenway should be, Chris.
Yes, they want to go through family farms,
right,
dividing them in 2. Now they're small family farms, and I will not stand for that.
So you won't be supporting?
I am supporting the greenway to go along the road.
Okay, so not an off-road option.
No, not that one.
No, okay.
They're not where family farms are going to be divided in two. That is the ridiculous situation, and especially in that environmentally sensitive area, to put a greenway up there, I think it's absolute lunacy. 10 million, take their 10 million, we have told them this, go back along the road. That was what was supposed to be done 5 or 6 years ago. They were halfway there, and things went wrong, but that's what I have told them so many times. If they would just deviate from their standards on this occasion, we have seen the greenway down to Newport. That's out near the road. And there's 3 or 4 foot from the road in places. And it's good enough and it's working. Take their 10 million, use common sense and spend the money wisely. Make that road has to be done again, but put the greenway alongside it. It will not be perfect, but it's a start. And when I believe this country gets more money or more access to funds, then if they want to do loops again, a roundabout, take it away from the road. But let's get a start. Let's get it back to Rooney as quick as possible. That's the quickest way of doing it, and go from there.
If you're elected, Chris, as a TD, who's going to take your council seat?
Well, that'll be... let's deal with this election first, and then myself and Independent Ireland will sort that out.
And do you believe that, like, with some of the people who voted for you as an independent, that they are feeling a bit like with Mark Duffy, who was an independent in Ballina, now with Fine Gael? You're now with Independent Ireland. Are some of your voters peeved, do you think?
I've been talking to an awful lot of my voters, up and down now for the last couple of months when this started. We understand, as I said to you earlier on, we're finding it difficult to get work done already for the 5 months or 6 months a minute because Mayo County Council are struggling with money. Money has to be drew from central government back, and I believe that is the strongest point I could make, that if elected as a TD, I will get more money from central government back to Mayo County Council, and that's where we start. Now, look, it's as simple as this. There's an extra seat in this election. I topped the poll in Mayo.
In Louisburgh, yeah.
In Westport Municipal District. And a lot of people have come to me and said, look, go for it. Go for it this time. You talk a lot of common sense. You're a practical guy. Give it a shot. You're at the right age. You have nothing to lose. If it doesn't work, you're still a county councillor. And that's how we approach this. Just practical common sense. Look, it's there to be won. There's an extra seat. We're not trying to take away from anyone else. It's well worth the
effort. Okay. Is there a Garda station in Louisburgh?
Thankfully, there is. And we have one fine guard in it, and it's great that he's there. One time we had 3 guards in it. But there was talks of it being closed, but we fought hard to keep it going, and it's still there, and thankfully, it'll wait there.
Yeah, is one enough?
Absolutely not. We had 3. We had 2 guards and a sergeant there since I was a young fella growing up. Right. And we would need that back. I mean, that's more of it, like, you know. I mean, and not that I want to go talking about the heat police or anything, like, you know, but that was one of the proposals that they were doing, was to give council officials powers that they could go into your house or check your van or thing about turf. It was a crazy situation, and that we still haven't got answers to. But like, there is drug barons and drug dealers going back and over our roads across this county. There is no guards there to stop them or to check them or to put them behind bars. But the bureaucracy and the ridiculousness in country was to give council officials to go stop and put people going home with a bag of turf. Like, all these things are just they would madden you to listen to what's going on in this country. I mean, the one thing, like, I mean, it's all down to funding for our guards, for our healthcare workers, our home care. I mean, we've seen the ridiculous situation where, like, you know, 335,000 for a bike shed, 1.4 million for a hut, and now the ridiculous thing that a set of curtains for Dublin Castle cost 70,000 euros. That 70,000 euros would solve an awful lot of the kids in our county that cannot get a bus to their local school. 70,000 on a set of curtains. What else do we not know about where this money is gone and gone? Who knows what they were doing? Okay. It's the greatest waste of money that ever was.
Chris, we're out of time. It sounds to me like all of the candidates, you would relish the opportunity of getting into Dáil Éireann and representing the people, not just of Louisburgh, but the people of Mayo. So in 1 minute, talk to the listeners. Say why a vote for Chris Maxwell is a good vote.
Well, look, I'm an ordinary practical guy. I'm a farmer, a hard worker. I'm a community man. I'm involved in a rake of things back in Louisburgh. Over the years, our community alert, our Marren Show Society, Pride of Place, Louisburgh Community Futures. We know all this. All we know is that we need to get more money into our county from central government. And that is the secret. Spend the money in Mayo where it should be spent. Get our roads sorted once and for all, from whether it's from Westport to Louisburgh or from Cashel to Belmullet. Get the money back and get the show moving.
And to the people who live in other areas of Mayo outside of Louisburgh, Westport, Charlestown, Swinford, those areas of Claremorris where you wouldn't be particularly well known, you'll represent them too?
Absolutely. I'm well known across a lot of this county. My wife and family comes from Glencorrib. We're thankfully they're back in the Mayo electoral area now. That's another boost, thankfully. I have relations up and down, as I told you, here in Ballyhaunis, right across this county. Right. And as I say, Independent Ireland's policies of common sense, get the job done, no nonsense.
Okay.
That's what people are crying out for.
Chris, the best of luck with the campaign. Thank you very much for coming in today and joining us on the programme. That's Independent Ireland candidate for Mayo, Chris Maxwell, joining us on this morning's programme.